In 2013, a tugboat off Nigeria sank so suddenly that one man would spend the next 60 hours alive on the ocean floor, breathing from a pocket of air barely larger than a nightmare with walls. Harrison Okene was 29, the ship's cook on the AHT Jascon-4, and just thinking about breakfast, his next leave, and the ordinary little future waiting after work. Around 5 in the morning on May 26, a heavy swell hit while the tugboat was helping stabilize an oil tanker about 20 miles off the Nigerian coast. The boat flipped. The ceiling became the floor. The propellers were suddenly above him, and the exit he needed became a dark maze filling with seawater. Okene had been in the bathroom, wearing only boxer shorts, when the lights died, the room lurched sideways, and the vessel dropped roughly 30 meters to the seabed. He tried to reach an escape hatch, but water rushed through the corridors. Doors were wrong, gravity was wrong, and the way out was already a fight he could not win. So he did the most unnatural survival move imaginable. He turned away from the exit and swam deeper inside the sinking boat instead of out of it.
A closed cabin door trapped a pocket of air, and inside that upside-down bathroom, Harrison found the smallest possible version of hope, sealed inside a steel box on the seabed. At first, there was no fresh water, no phone, no daylight, no map, and absolutely no customer service desk at the bottom of the Atlantic. The room was pitch black, the water kept rising, and every breath changed the chemistry of the tiny bubble above him, second by second, molecule by molecule. The danger was not just running out of oxygen. Carbon dioxide was building up, pressure was saturating his body with nitrogen, and panic could burn through air faster than fear could explain itself. Okene tried to stay calm, because in that room, calm was not a personality trait. It was a life support system, and fear had suddenly become expensive. He clung near the sink, tore loose pieces of paneling, and made a little raft so he could keep more of his body out of the cold water. Later, he found small supplies, including a can of cola and sardines, then tied scraps of cloth into a guide rope through the flooded passages.
Every trip away from the air pocket was a gamble, because one wrong doorway in a black, upside-down ship could turn into the last room he ever entered. Above him, people did not know he was alive. The Jascon-4 was a wreck, and the mission shifted toward recovering the crew who had not survived. Divers came down expecting silence, metal, mud, and the awful routine of a disaster nobody wants to find, because that is what the wreck had become to everyone on the surface. Then, Okene heard hammering through the hull. Somewhere outside the darkness, someone was close enough to answer, if he could make himself heard through steel and seawater. He hammered back with what he could find. Imagine being alone for days, then realizing the ocean floor has finally started knocking. A diver's helmet light moved through the corridor like a tiny moon, and Okene forced himself out of the air pocket toward it, careful not to waste the breath he had left. On the diver's camera, a hand appeared in the black water. At first, the team thought they had found another body in the wreck. Then, the hand grabbed back. The diver jolted, because finding a living man inside a drowned tugboat is not exactly covered by the cheerful part of the training manual. But the team moved fast. They got Okene breathing support, kept him from making a deadly rush to the surface, and brought him into a diving bell. After 60 hours trapped beneath the Atlantic, Harrison Okene was alive, shocked, thirsty, cold, and staring at rescuers who looked almost as stunned as he was. Survival still had one more rule. Because his body had been under pressure for days, he needed a recompression chamber before normal air could safely welcome him back home. In the days after, he spoke about prayer, fear, thirst, the salt water burning his mouth, and the bed at home feeling like it was sinking under him. Years later, instead of letting the ocean become only the place that nearly killed him, Okene trained as a diver, which is either healing or the boldest possible rematch. That does not make the story less terrifying. It makes it stranger, braver, and somehow more human. Because courage is not always loud. Because for 60 hours at the bottom of the sea, Harrison Okene survived on a bubble of air, a few practical decisions, and the refusal to let panic spend his oxygen for him.